Hello everyone, this is Jess from J Roselle Comic Art and welcome back to another video. In this one I am actually going to be sharing my experience with vending at my latest convention, which was QuadCon. And honestly, it was so much fun. I had a really great time, the people were wonderful, and the sales were really great. So we're going to go into a little bit of what was actually happening during the show, a little bit of video coverage. I apologize that I didn't get too much, but we're mostly going to be chatting about like things that went well, what maybe I might try doing differently in the future, and just things like that. So if you're at all interested in my experience, let's go ahead and get started. Checking in very briefly, I apologize, you can probably hear the printer in the background, but I did manage to finish the new price list for my event. I managed to finish my little spooky bulletin board as well. That'll also go up with my setup for future events. And then I actually managed to finish something that kind of came to me last minute, and my brain decided that I just really needed to finish this and try and get like a whole magazine done today. That definitely did not happen, but I did manage to get the cover done, which I'm pretty happy about. So the very first volume of the Spooky Familiar will be, at least the cover will be visible, hopefully for tomorrow's show. But yeah, I'm very excited to show you guys like all the new things that I've been working on today. So the very first thing is our little bulletin board. Very cute. This surprisingly took me longer to make than I expected, but I do think that it's really fun, and I think it'll be like a nice little addition to our setup for my future shows. And then we also have an updated item and price list, if you will. Again, I didn't really adjust too many things on the actual list itself. I did take off the sticker books because obviously I have sold the last of them, which is very exciting. But I did add in the shaker potion bottles at the bottom. So, all in all, not too much is different, but I am happy with how it turned out. So, still got that all ready to go. And then I have one more sticker design that I have printed out, and then my printer decided it wanted to give up on me at like the very end of the page, which is unfortunate. But we do have that going. I will have to reprint that. Let's figure that out with the printer. And then I think I might print a couple sheets of that Cozy Familiar magazine design cover. Yes. Sorry, I'm very tired. I've been up since like 1 a.m. this morning, and it's currently like almost 8 p.m. So I'm very tired. Maybe not all the way with it either, but bear with me. But otherwise, I think those are kind of like the new things that are going to be coming with my updated booth design. So, excited. Still feel like there's probably some more work to be done. As per usual, I always figure, oh, I have so much time, I will get to it before my next show. And then I get busy with other things and don't do that. So I really need to be on it very soon this year, because I do want to like have a very nice booth layout design. Anyway, for right now though, we're going to print more stickers. We're going to print out our magazine cover, and I will check back with you guys in a little bit. How's it going? Good. Hello everyone. I am so exhausted. I've been up since 1 a.m. and it is currently 8:03 p.m. But we made it through the day, and oh my gosh, what a day it was. Back-to-back sales for like almost 4 hours, or at least a very good steady stream of sales. I had some really big purchases at the very end of the day as well, so thank you so much. And my like whole clay section is almost completely wiped out, which is wild. A good problem to have, but also kind of a problem for the second day tomorrow. So I am probably going to sculpt tomorrow morning before the show. Possibly, we'll see. Just because that section looks so empty. But I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much, and thank you to everyone who came by and talked and chatted and did purchase something from me. You didn't have to do that, but I mean, thank you for doing it anyway. It really does make my heart feel happy. But I'm very sleepy, and I'm probably gonna go to bed here very soon. So thank you again. We'll hopefully chat in the morning. So let's talk about what actually happened for QuadCon. So QuadCon is a 2-day show. It was happening on Saturday and Sunday at a local mall, and honestly, like, it was a really good show. I wouldn't say that it was like packed or crazy or anything like that. It's, again, it is kind of at a local mall. It's not anything too crazy or wild, but I did have like on Saturday from like noon to about 4, there were just people coming back to back, and I had repeat customers, so that was super sweet. There were even some people that came back twice to buy things, so thank you so much for that if you did happen to come by. And on Sunday, again, kind of the same. It was definitely a bit slower, but definitely still had like back-to-back people coming from like noon to 2-ish. So honestly, I'm pretty happy overall with how the event went. I was actually situated, we were in, again, it's in the mall, but it's in a place that had an old furniture store, so it's very big, lots of space for people to spread out, and again, I just had like a 10 by 10 space. I was actually in between 2 different like toy reseller shops that they have local businesses already, but they were just coming to also sell some of the products that they have. I talked to the event runners as well just a little bit, and they're always really nice. I never have any issues with this show, and I will say, like, they were a little worried at first with the way that they had set up the room, because they thought, oh well, if these 2 toy resellers are gonna be, you know, like really big and have like people coming back and forth and kind of crowding up that area, you know, I might not do as well. But honestly, like, this was my best show to date. Technically, I had done the show last February as well in 2025, and it was also my best show, but I even beat those sales, so that's really exciting, honestly. Wasn't by like a huge amount that I beat them, but still like really cool that I can still do a good job with being prepared and having enough art to sell, I suppose, because that will be the biggest thing. We're going to talk about this here in a minute, but I definitely ran out of clay items after Saturday, so, which was a good problem to have. I am not complaining. Again, thank you so much for all those people that came by and purchased everything, but I felt woefully unprepared, especially after like 4 or 5 o'clock on Saturday, because I was like, oh, there's not that much left. Okay, I mean, yay, but oh no. So starting off, honestly, yeah, the people that came by and purchased or like just happened to walk by the booth and chatted, everyone was super nice. I didn't have any weird interactions or anything like that. They made really sweet comments about like my table and my booth setup, about my art in general. And I did make a couple of improvements to my booth, so we will probably talk more about this in a future video, but I did end up making some new things for my display. So I ended up getting some new display tables for my actual clay items themselves, so they're no longer on those little plastic shelves. They were now on the little wooden table displays, if you will, that you probably saw from the video clips. I also added some new signs to my display, so kind of that little bulletin board of, oh, keep an eye out for this, or these things are coming in the future. And I think that was really fun. People kind of made little comments about it. And then I did also need to update my product list slash the prices. Nothing really, like, prices went up too much. I think the only thing that did go up technically was like the plushie keychains, just because I just got those new Lucy plushies and they were a little bit more expensive to make and took around the same amount of time. So I think I charged it by like an extra $1. So not a huge update, but also want to make sure that we're getting paid fairly for like the price of designing all this, like putting in the production value, all that good stuff. So just small things that you kind of have to think about with running a business. And then I also added a couple extra newsletters that I had left over from like the shop update. So if people wanted to pick one up, they could have. And then there was also a magazine cover that I had done. I have an idea to potentially make like a spooky magazine monthly. Make it like a little magazine, or more a zine, I should say. So it's not going to be, you know, like a full however many page magazine. It'll probably be like, you know, 6 to 8 pages or something, but featuring my art, maybe some little stories, things like that. So if you guys are interested in that, do let me know in the comments, because I had this big idea, but I have no idea if anyone is actually interested in it. So it is what it is, I suppose. But anyway, if you're curious about that, do let me know. But I will say, I think just having such a distinct and like colorful table, it really does help to like kind of draw the eye and like draw people to your table as well. I actually had a couple people say like, oh, your booth is so colorful and sparkly and things like that. And I think that did help to like get the conversation started and like actually have them look around and see like all the things that are available on my table. So I'm glad that over the last couple of years, as I have continued to upgrade my booth, that hopefully it has been successful in, you know, helping people to notice at least. I won't be sharing exactly how much I sold throughout the 2 days, but I will say I did count it up and I actually sold over 39 clay products, which is really crazy, honestly. Between like the sculptures, the bigger sculptures, the clay keychains, all those things, it's really wild to think that I sold like over 39 of them. And honestly, by the end of day 1, my display for that section was like super empty. Like I think there were a couple of not even big things left. All the big things sold except for like the Valentine's Day clay sculpture that I had made for the month of February, and then lots of little things. So that was really awesome. And someone actually purchased the clay wizard tower. I'm so happy because that took me so long to make and they seem to really enjoy it. So I hope that they enjoy it as well. But because I pretty much ran out at the end of day 1, as soon as we got home that night, I had to like hurry up and try and sculpt, bake, glaze some things so that way my booth wasn't like so empty for day 2. And I really am happy that I did manage to sell so many of these clay things. Even like the newer products, like the clay worry stones, I ended up selling a couple of them, as well as the shaker potion bottles as well. So it's always kind of a concern when you have like a new product and you don't quite know how well it's going to be received. I'm glad that people did end up enjoying it, so thank you again. And then I also really liked hearing about how like some of the repeat customers, when they came back to my table, they would say like, oh, I still have my keychain from you on my bag, or my little clay friends were up on my trinket shelf and I like to look at them every so often. And I'm like, that just makes me feel really happy inside. And so I really am glad. As much as the art that I create, you know, it's not infinite, I suppose. Obviously I make everything by hand, but it really does make me happy that people share that, yeah, you know, I still love and admire the art that I have purchased from you, and I look at it and, you know, it makes me feel happy. That just also, as the artist that created that work, I suppose, makes me happy as well, that they can still find enjoyment from that. Another comment that I received that was kind of interesting to hear, but also, again, kind of made me happy. It was interesting, I will say. I had a group of people come over and they were just like so excited to see like some handmade art, honestly. I believe the comment they used was like not seeing like AI slop or like a computer made image, things like that. And I think that that really honestly does kind of show that like people, especially like right now with everything that's happening out in the world, kind of still really crave and appreciate that handmade work. I think the comment that they used was like, yeah, seeing the actual fingerprints on like the clay sculptures and everything and knowing that it's real and made by a human. And internally I was like, oh gosh, I have fingerprints on here, but yes, sorry, yes, I promise I will improve and not make that so obvious. But I think that they also appreciated that because they knew that someone like put that time and effort and dedication into creating this art piece. So I think that that's really cool, honestly. It really just made me grateful that I was able to get back into art. And despite, you know, being my little niche of like, oh, cute little ghosty art, people can still hopefully find some comfort and enjoyment from the work that I make. So I really do appreciate all those nice comments that I have received over the past weekend. And that same token, I just hope that I can continue to improve on my craft and hopefully work on designing some new things. I am starting to get some new ideas for like some bigger clay projects I want to work on. Hopefully need to start working on the spring shop update as well, and just little things like that in between. So again, thank you for those comments. The other thing that we should probably discuss was because the event was happening in the mall. Unironically, I didn't really notice until like we were actually getting ready to set up in the area, was that there was also a vintage like craft fest, not craft fest, just a vintage fest in general that was happening in another room on the other side of the mall. I think that event was actually, it was like a $2 admission fee to get in versus the event for QuadCon was actually free, so. But I think because of that, it did help to bring in a bunch more people, and there was just like a steady stream, again, from like noon to 4-ish on Saturday, and then like noon to 2-ish on Sunday. And honestly, yeah, I think that was really great that we were able to draw in such a big crowd. I had a couple people say like, yeah, we had such a hard time finding parking and normally this place is not like this. And I'm like, oh, well, I really appreciate you guys still coming in and making the trek and all of that stuff. And especially because Saturday's weather was honestly pretty nice. It was decent. And then Sunday it definitely got cold. So again, appreciate that people still made the effort to come out and visit and chat and buy things. So thank you again. Again, I think that I certainly didn't make like huge numbers for like, I'm sure compared to other, you know, Artist Alley conventions, events like this, but it is a number that I am happy with. And again, when I told the event organizers that I had actually, you know, beat my records and made the most that I have ever done, again, not by that much, but still, they were actually super pleased because again, they were a little worried that they had put me in between those two resellers. So they were like, I mean, hopefully it's fine, but they were really happy that I still ended up doing pretty good. I think the part of that, because I did manage to sell and like do pretty well, was because I do try to keep my prices reasonable. But I think in the future, I am very happy with my prices and my price point for most of my items, but I think as I continue to improve on my skill and like the time that I put into my clay pieces or any of my other art, I will probably price accordingly, which I believe is fair for an artist, honestly. I think it's kind of known in the community that people often might underprice themselves or undersell themselves just because they're like, you know, I really want to make sure that I get this out there, and if people aren't willing to buy it, then, you know, what's the point? But I think it is important to charge like what you're worth and what you're putting into like the art that you're making. So as much as I try to keep my prices reasonable for my clay items, I think as I improve, as I make them bigger and better and things like that, the prices of those things will also probably start to go up a little bit. And I think that's okay. But for now, I think I am going to probably in the next couple of videos here plan to restock all of those clay items because I barely have anything left to keep up on my online shop. So if there is something that you see that's up there, do let me know. And I can obviously sculpt it and it's no big deal, but yeah, I'm just trying to plan accordingly ahead. And I'll probably also be starting to work on some new projects as well pretty soon. I, again, have some ideas for like maybe a little library scene or just different things like that for what I want to make in the future. If there were any, like, which honestly, again, I'm not that concerned about it, if there were any cons to this convention, if you will, I think the only thing that I would say maybe is that there were a couple businesses that were playing music. Again, not really a big deal. I don't really care. It wasn't bad music and it wasn't super loud, so I was happy with it. That did kind of prohibit me from like really recording or like talking to you guys on camera, because I was like, yeah, I can't, you know, really have this audio in the background because I'm probably going to get copyrighted. So that is why most of the clips are silent in this particular video, so hopefully you guys don't mind. But yeah, overall, I think that it was still a good event. I really don't have any complaints or concerns, and I'm happy that I was able to do it, and hopefully we'll be able to do future QuadCons in the upcoming year/years. Regardless, I believe those are kind of the main things that I wanted to talk about with how this event went and just QuadCon in general. So if you guys have any comments, please do feel free to leave them in the section below. Thank you so much for watching, and for those of you who might have, oh, hello. For those of you who might have happened to have joined or subscribed after the show, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And once again, thank you so much for all those who came up to the booth and purchased from me. But for now, this is going to be the end. Thank you so much. Please feel free to leave a like, comment, and subscribe as well if you're new to the channel. And until next time, I hope that you all have a wonderful day.